More on the man charged with homicide for the death of Brooke Stratton. I'm Meryl Hubbard with more on the criminal complaint coming up.
I'm Will Keneally. Coming up tonight at 6, we take a look at the money that Elon Musk is putting into this state Supreme Court race.
I'm Elila Liberté. What the Henry Viola Zoo is doing to protect its bird population from the bird flu.
And later, a group of scientists right here in Madison say they've cracked the code to bring commercial fusion power to the masses. And we welcome you to this early edition of News 3 Now at 6. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Eric Franke.
And I'm Sarah Carlson. We are now learning more about the man charged in the death of 24-year-old Brooke Stratton from McFarland.
Our Meryl Hubbard shows us the graphic statements from the criminal complaint and resources for people experiencing domestic violence.
Brooke Stratton was last seen on September 30th in the area of Odana Road and Whitney Way with a male acquaintance. Madison police found her body in a pond on UW-Madison Arboretum property on October 3rd. The man last seen with Stratton is 25-year-old James Barnes Morris. He's charged with first-degree intentional homicide and a domestic abuse modifier. MPD's criminal complaint gives alleged comments he made the night of her disappearance. The alleged comments include, "I had to get rid of her. She knew too much. The lilies made it hard. And I need another brick and a rope." The complaint says that a person heard Barnes Morris make those comments and noticed him with several large scratches on his legs at a gathering that night. Faye Zemmel from Domestic Abuse Intervention Services says,
"That's sort of like the biggest fear, right? Is that you would be harmed to the point that your life would be lost or that you would be killed."
It takes an average of 7 attempts for a survivor to leave their abuser and stay separated.
Abuse can really escalate when the abusive partner really feels like they're losing that power and control. So leaving a relationship is a very dangerous time potentially.
But she says Days is just one call away.
Days provides life-saving services. If somebody is reaching out to us, we meet everyone where they're at.
Barnes Morris is now in Dodge Correctional Institution in Waupun and will make his initial court appearance Friday afternoon. As for Stratton, her memory is not lost on the community. Reporting in Madison, Meryl Hubbard, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Meryl. And if you are experiencing any issues with partner violence, the number for Domestic Abuse Intervention Services is there on your screen. Governor Tony Evers is announcing plans to support federal workers laid off by the Trump administration. The Evers administration is creating a new online portal to connect them with employment opportunities. They will also be carrying out 8 virtual job fairs next month. Now, although these job fairs are targeted toward laid-off federal workers, they are open to anyone interested. More details can be found on the new portal, dwd.wisconsin.gov/federal-workers. On the campaign trail, as we've been reporting, money is pouring into Wisconsin for next Tuesday's race for state Supreme Court.
But in one case, that money is going directly into voters' pockets. Political reporter Will Keneally joins us to explain. Will?
Well, if you remember back to last November, Elon Musk was offering money to voters to sign a petition like this one. Now, this April, he's asking voters to oppose activist judges in this highly watched state Supreme Court race. He's saying, fill out this form and you can receive $100 from his political action committee. Now, as part of this lottery, Musk announced today that a Green Bay voter received $1 million. But the question, is all of this legal?
It seems extraordinarily tacky and unseemly in the context of an election, but that doesn't make it illegal.
Constitutional expert Howard Schwaber says the legal piece of this puzzle is that Musk is collecting voter information rather than advocating for a specific candidate.
There's nothing at all illegal about paying someone to essentially fill out paperwork for you. You can even think of it as selling your information, if you like, very voluntarily. It's one of the more transparent versions of selling your information that people are likely to run across in this day and age.
But that said, it may be a fine line to walk. People can't compel a Wisconsin voter to refrain from voting under state law.
I think the real point here is about what counts as normal, and the extent to which our politics nationally and in Wisconsin and even in traditional elections has just become so nasty and so disreputable that this is just one more example of that.
Now, even though this petition is not advocating for a candidate, just a judicial philosophy that activist judges there, Musk has given $3 million to the state Republican Party and has vocally backed the conservative candidate in next Tuesday's state Supreme Court race.
All right, thank you, Will. Beginning today, some seniors could have their entire monthly Social Security check withheld in order to repay accidental overpayments. Previously, this very small group only saw 10% deducted from their checks. The Social Security Administration pays benefits to about 70 million Americans every month, totaling $1.6 trillion a year. Officials say fewer than 1% received more than they should. Experts say there is something you can do if you're in that group and can't afford to take the hit.
You can actually appeal the decision if you think it's been made an error. And to be clear, the error can be on either side. It could be me, the Social Security recipient, not saying I've got a change in status. Something happened. My check is actually more. Or it could be the government. We goofed. Whoever is responsible doesn't matter. The person's on the hook for it.
To resolve any Social Security related issues, you can visit ssa.gov and be sure to flag the government if your check is larger than usual. The Department of Health and Human Services is cutting 10,000 full-time employees across health agencies. That is on top of 10,000 workers who left voluntarily. HHS says the new cuts will save the department $1.8 billion per year. The cuts are part of a dramatic restructuring at HHS. The overhaul also includes consolidating 28 divisions into 15.
Well, a little bit of rain to start the day and maybe more later on. Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington with a look now at your certified most accurate forecast, looking a lot like Blaze Keller tonight.
Yes, he'll be in at 6. We are looking at some more showers and maybe a few thunderstorms as we end your Thursday going into early Friday. We had some showers this morning, left with that cloud cover throughout the day. Some peaks of sunshine, but as I mentioned, more showers and maybe a few thunderstorms as we go into the overnight hours through at least the morning commute time frame. But if we can clear out these clouds sooner rather than later on Friday, we're in for a very warm end to our work week. Over the next few hours, we'll eventually settle into those 40s and maybe some of us not even slipping below 50 as we head overnight into your Friday. Those showers mainly picking up after the midnight hour, but we are looking at a pretty wet extended forecast, especially your upcoming weekend, Saturday night into Sunday. That looks to be our best chance for more of that widespread shower and possibly snow shower activity. We're going to track out how much rain, snow, and a mix of both we could see, along with our temperatures as we look ahead to April in the full forecast.
All right, thank you, Blaze. Farmers around the country are monitoring bird flu because of its ability to infect livestock and humans, but it's not just farmers that need to be on alert.
Our Ellie La Liberté shows us how the Henry Violet Zoo keeps its animals safe.
This is a pretty sick bird, but not literally. That's because the zoo is taking precautions against the bird flu.
Katie Dorweiler and her family frequently flock to the zoo.
I would say we come like 7 times a summer.
She's seen the signs.
And I think that's great. I guess you walk in and you wipe your feet off on the mat.
Those mats, all in an effort to prevent the spread of bird flu.
Some of our birds that have roofed enclosures are probably less at risk of coming in contact with HPAI just because the roofed nature of their exhibits really protects them from a lot of foreign materials getting in.
Beth Peterson, the zoo's general curator, says there's a plan specifically for bird flu to keep germs from getting in.
Well, this is actually year 3 for us of kind of having the bird flu really be at the forefront of a lot of our spring planning and biosecurity concerns.
The zoo also has a veterinarian on staff.
All of the keepers already have been briefed on what the early signs might be from an animal like that. It's unfortunate that this is a thing that seems to be repeating itself every year and is changing every year depending on what new ways it's affecting animals.
And the extra precautions help guests like Katie and her family keep the zoo's 47 birds safe.
I think it's also important to teach the kids that birds are sensitive too and they can get illnesses, and I think it's really good to try to protect them in what way we can.
Reporting in Madison, Ellie La Liberté, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Ellie. The CDC says exposure to infected, sick, or dead animals is the top risk for getting bird flu. Eating uncooked eggs or drinking unpasteurized milk from unpasteurized cows can also increase your risk for infection. And coming up, a group of researchers in Madison cracked the code possibly to fusion power.
After the break, we'll meet the company behind the study and what these findings could mean for the future of energy.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6, moving forward.
Well, it is quite a breakthrough for a group of scientists at the UW. Kyle Pozorski caught up with the team as they talk about the future of fusion energy.
The validation of a fusion power plant model is something Chris Hegna and his team at Type 1 Energy are immensely proud of.
I think we've done this probably better than anybody else has done in the past.
The company he co-founded publishing this week their work showing there is no hurdle to creating commercial fusion power, something the industry has been looking to achieve over several decades, including by scientists in Madison.
UW-Madison has been a powerhouse in this area, in the research area, for as long as I've been alive.
The achievement being hailed as a major step forward.
It's a big thing for the field.
Benedict Geiger from UW's HSX lab shares that the team at Type 1 relied on knowledge generated over many decades in the fusion research field, all to get to this point that no one has done before.
So far, the field, in terms of stellar research, we didn't have a very clear path towards that fusion power plant.
And while this is a major step forward in the field of fusion power, there is still work that needs to be done to bring the clean power source to the masses. In Madison, Kyle Pozorski, News 3 Now.
Kyle, thank you. And to find more on Kyle's reporting on this scientific breakthrough pushing the field forward, just find this article linked at channel3000.com. It's still ahead. Time is running out to vote for the Spirit of Service Award.
Plus, celebrating Midwest spirits. We'll tell you about the unique tasting event coming to Fitchburg.
And when will the rain return? Blaze with a complete forecast after a short break.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
Welcome back. A wine and spirits retailer is hosting its first ever Midwest Spirits Celebration. Waterford Wine and Spirits is bringing together some of the top craft distillers from the Great Lakes region. This runs in Fitchburg on April 12th from noon to 3 p.m. Attendees will have a chance to taste more than 50 different spirits made throughout the Midwest.
You know, we have farm to table with restaurants, but farm to bottle spirits, where you grow everything on a local farm. Some people are growing their own and then distilling those grains. Some people are sourcing from local farms that are within a few miles of the distillery.
In addition to tastings, guests will meet blenders, distillers, and craftspeople from some of the top producers out there. There will also be exclusive discounts on bottles during the event, making it the perfect time to stock up on Midwest-made spirits.
Time is running out to vote for the local veteran you think is deserving of the Spirit of Service Award. Our partners at Vortex narrowed the more than 200 nominations down to these final 5, and voting is now open at channel3000.com through March 30th. You can look for their stories on News 3 Now and our mobile app. A winner will be announced April 2nd, and that person will take home $5,000, again presented by Vortex. A chance for some rain later tonight. Blaze, what time could these showers move in?
We are looking at those showers to move in mainly after midnight, sticking around through your morning commute on Friday. Once those showers and clouds move off to the north, we're going to be breezy and we're going to be warm for the rest of your Friday. Take a look at our forecast as we end the work week. Should be in the upper 40s. Some of us squeezing out another day in the upper 70s, maybe even a few low 80s out across southwestern parts of the state. If we can get rid of the cloud cover sooner rather than later, we have the makings for a very pleasant, albeit windy, Friday. Those winds are going to be out of the south, gusting anywhere between 25 to 35 miles per hour. And then we get ready for the rain as we head into the weekend. We're looking at widespread 1 to 2 inches of rain, possibly some pockets 2.5 to 3 inches of rain where those showers move over the same area a couple of times as 2 systems move through the Midwest. The first one is going to move in on Friday and then move out, guiding in our next system for Saturday night into Sunday. There's a chance for severe weather. It's marginal, so the lowest of the categories outlined by the Storm Prediction Center. And earlier this afternoon, parts of the News 3 Now coverage area was underneath this marginal risk for hail. That has since been moved northward, so we're not eyeing the best environment for some hail, but we may see some small hailstones as we end Friday going into early Saturday. We'll, of course, keep you covered, but the better environment for that hail is going to be further north where we find that brown. That is our first system moving moving on in along the warm front. It's going to be pushing a lot of that moisture northwards. The cold front will eventually be cutting its way across parts of Wisconsin Friday night into Saturday. As you move your way Saturday into Sunday, this cold front is going to act as kind of a guide for our next system. It's going to pull it out of the plains and lift it northwards. All of that moisture comes up with it. Notice that central and southern Wisconsin, we're staying in the green for the most part, so primarily rain, but a rain-snow mix and snow just off to our north as we go into your Sunday. It's Sunday night into Monday that likely will have our best chance for that snow. And as winds continue to move off of Lake Michigan, folks closer to Lake Michigan, so if you're going to be heading out to the Brewers home opener, you may be dealing with some of those snow showers or at least higher snow totals as we look ahead to your Monday. That's where they've got about 1 inch to 2 inches of that snow possible, whereas everybody else, we're looking at 1 inch or less. And this is going to be more of that wet, heavy snow. But the good news is we are going to be well above freezing as we go not only into your Monday, but then Tuesday, the start of April. So a lot of that snow is very quickly going to melt. Weather conditions outside, it really doesn't matter because we're going to be inside celebrating and cheering on the Brewers as they take on the Kansas City Royals. That, of course, beginning shortly after 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Monday. But if you're going to be driving there, just know that you could be running into some light rain snow mix, low 30s, eventually back into those upper 30s to low 40s as we go into the rest of your Monday afternoon. There's a look at your 7 and 10 day forecast. As I mentioned, we're going to be doing a lot of melting, even with that snow on the ground Sunday night into Monday as we climb above freezing. So the snow's not going to stick around, but we're not done with the snow chances. Tuesday night into Wednesday, we could see another round of that rain snow mix before we quiet down for the most part to round out next week.
Well, it is opening day for baseball. The Brewers, as well as they look to get back to the playoffs this season. The first test of their season, a date with the New York Yankees at the house that Ruth built. It was not Milwaukee's day as the Yankees jumped out to an early lead with the long ball, and they get the 4-2 win. Third baseman Vinny Capra did hit his first career home run, a solo shot in his debut with the Crew. The Brewers will look to even the series tomorrow. First pitch a little earlier at 12:05. Now to college basketball, where the Sweet 16 is about to begin. Up first on CBS tonight, BYU. We'd like to forget about them, but they take on Alabama. Tip-off set for 6:09. Then at 6:39 over on TBS, Florida and Maryland. For the nightcap, it'll be Duke and Arizona here on CBS at about 8:40, and Arkansas will face Texas Tech on TBS at around 9. Those looking for News 3 Now at 10 can find it airing on Television Wisconsin. We'll also air a live newscast after the end of the Duke-Arizona game.
And finally tonight, ruh-roh. I like that one. Netflix, I Did It, is coming out with a live-action Scooby-Doo series. The beloved animation series has been adapted for 3 live-action movies, but this will be the first ever live-action Scooby-Doo series. It will be an origin story featuring characters based on the beloved mystery-solving gang from the original show. The 8-episode series will focus on the haunting case that brought the Crew and their cowardly dog together. Netflix has not announced, though, the cast or the release date, unfortunately.
I was a big fan. Just can't put Scrappy-Doo in this, though.
No.
That's when it jumped the shark.
Big trouble. Now coming up on News 3 Now at 10, postal workers rally in Janesville. Our Maddie Heimsch brings us their message as they protest against the dismantling and privatization of the UPS. The Janesville rally is just the latest of nationwide demonstrations after President Trump and Elon Musk have voiced support of privatizing the agency.
And Blaze is back as we take one final check at the forecast.
Yes, some showers and maybe a few non-severe thunderstorms tonight. Those push out after your morning commute, leaving us with a breezy but warm Friday, mid to upper 70s possible, maybe even a few low 80s out there along the Mississippi River. Enjoy the warmth and the breezy conditions because we got rain and cooler temperatures as we head into the weekend and the start of next week.
All right, we're going with basketball on CBS right now in 5 minutes. We're going to do this newscast again over on TVW.